Here we go. Uh, so on this video, we're going to talk about the power of positive thinking. Um, and I want to bring the concept to your attention that thoughts become things. The text tells us in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, it tells us in all our ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct our path. It's also as we're looking at the text in Galatians 6 and 7, it talks about how God is not mocked. It says, so as a man soweth, so also he reaps. So I want you to think about sowing positive thoughts because thoughts become things. There are 5 keys to mental toughness. Number 1, self-awareness. Number 2, mindfulness. Number 3, self-image or identity. Number 4 is courage. And number 5 is to be processed, focused. So as we talk about self-awareness, that just simply means knowing who you are and how you react, how you process information, how you share information, knowing things that may trigger you, knowing your responses before you respond, feeling yourself getting heightened or your pressure rising, and making a choice to not say something that you're going to regret later. Self-talk or mindfulness is how you communicate to yourself. What are you doing to essentially be in control of you? Knowing what to say, where to go. I know that these certain things make me feel a certain way. So one thing you can do is to try and avoid certain things or try and change the pattern that you may take. If you know that there's something that you have a conflict with, if you go a certain route, maybe you choose a different route and go a different route. Your self-image and your identity. What do you identify as? For most of you, you identify as athlete, which is why a lot of you struggle once the clock strikes 0. There's something else that I struggle with, and we're going to stay here for just a moment. There's something else that we struggle with as athletes, and that is people pleasing. And people who have not been athletes at a very high level or who have not played for a very long time don't understand why athletes tend to struggle with people pleasing. And I'll tell you exactly why it is. It's because as an athlete, we've lived our entire life on a scale. It's always been about what is our grade for the game? What is our coach saying? How are our peers viewing us in the locker room? For example, as a basketball player, I have to be able to shoot well enough for coach to run plays to me, to call my number in a game. In softball, you may be playing in the field but get subbed out when it's time for you to go to the plate. Why is that? Because coach doesn't think you're hitting the ball well enough. In cheerleading, you may not get thrown up to the top of the pyramid. You may not get thrown up in the air because your legs and your kickouts aren't as straight. So regardless to what the sport is, football, softball, basketball, baseball, we're always trying to meet that coach's expectation. We're always doing that. We live and we play on a graded scale. So therefore that translates into relationship where unfortunately we fall into people pleasing a lot as athletes because we're used to playing and we've lived a life on a scale. The next thing is the courage. You know, having that courage and that ability to conquer, that ability to try new things, that ability to be vulnerable, to try something that you're not good at, to do something that you're not the best at, that you're not great at. Oftentimes that's hard. That can look like a new sport, a new relationship. And one thing about athletes, nobody gets into a foot race to lose, right? So we all want to be really good at what we do. And the fifth key of mental toughness is to be process focused. And when you're process focused, you're not so much focused on the destination or the outcome. You're focused more on the technique. T equals P over O, meaning the process is more important than the outcome. We want to teach the technique as athletes. You know, when I'm working with people on how to play or how to shoot a basketball, I'm not so much concerned about how many times the ball goes through the net. I'm more concerned about your feet being parallel, you being on balance, you using good form, good technique. That's the measure of the success. So before we get out of here, I have an exercise for you. I want you to apply this TBT, this thoughts become things. And I want you to think about some affirmations. And there's a couple of type of statements that I want you to make right now. We're going to end up making 4 affirmations today. We're going to write I am statements and I will statements. These positive affirmations are going to be present tense and future tense. So when we say I am, that's a present tense statement. When we say I will, that is a future tense statement. So for example, you could say, I will make AB honor roll this year. And if you say that in the summer, it's a future tense because the school year hasn't started yet. Or you can say, I am present. You know, I have affirmations on my mirror in my bathroom. And one of the things that I'm striving to be better at in 2025 is to be a more present dad. So I say on my mirror, and it's there every day, I am present. I am right where I'm supposed to be. I say that to myself every day. And then we're going to write 2 I will statements. And remember, I will statements are future tense statements. So that is speaking something into existence, something that you will do. You know, for me, I say things like, I will be the head coach at Duke University. So we want to use I am and I will statements. Let's take a moment and let's write out 4. After you write out the 4, email them to me and then show me where you put them. In fact, I'd love for you either to write them on your mirror or put them on your room wall right by the light, you know, right by the light switch, so that when you cut the light on, it's the first thing you see in the light. And right before you cut the light off, it's the last thing you see. Okay. Let me know if you got any questions. Coach.